Wow. They're wearing federal electronic monitors, GPS monitors, that is. And they still did what they did. If that doesn't tell you that these guys came here to commit crime, I don't know what else does. What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please make sure you are following me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today we have to head back to the People's Republic of Chicago once again, because I have some new updates on a story that I discussed in yesterday's live stream, right? I want to talk about this story right here. Chicago horror homicide. Two migrants, illegal immigrants, in custody, sources say. At the time, it was just sources say, but we do have some updates. What I want to do first is that I want to read it's about 4 or 5 sentences here in this article before we pivot over to the next article that's going to give us some more details on this particular situation here. Really just kind of gross and gruesome details, if you ask me, right? So let's get into this very quickly. Let's jump into this. The article reads, two migrant suspects, illegal immigrants, in the US illegally are in custody in relation to the death of a 63-year-old man whose body was found tied up at his home in Chicago late Sunday. The same day, U.S. Border Czar Tom Homan and the Justice Department led a large immigration enforcement operation in that city. Investigators found the man, George Levin, bound with duct tape near his face and mouth in his Norwood Park home, police sources said. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office conducted an autopsy that determined Levin died of multiple injuries related to assault, and the death was ruled a homicide. Multiple Chicago police sources tell Fox News the two suspects in custody are adult migrants, illegal immigrants, one from Venezuela and the other from Ecuador. A top U.S. official tells Fox News the migrants are believed to have crossed into the United States through the Texas border in the summer of 2023. And what does that mean when you see that date? That means these are who Biden's migrants. These are Harris's migrants. These are the people that they intentionally let into the country that then lead to the death of multiple citizens like Laken Riley and now this gentleman here at 63 years old, right? Blood is definitely on the hands of the Biden administration still, and we will never forget that. And we will never stop bringing that up in situations like this when they occur. But I digress. Sources told Fox News that Levin possibly met with the suspects on a gay dating app. They said the suspects stole items from him during their encounter, which may have been a targeted robbery attack. So check that out. These guys, illegal immigrant, criminal aliens, they went on a gay dating app, scheduled a fake date, met up with this 63-year-old man, tied him up with duct tape, beat him, took his life, and then took his belongings. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But if you thought that was unbelievable, check this out. One of the suspects in custody apparently had been arrested in Chicago on January 12th for allegedly trying to lure children, sources said. A police report indicated the suspect was released 1 day later. 1 day later. You gotta love Chicago. You gotta love Brandon Johnson for protecting guys like this. I mean, I want to play a video for you guys right now that I think about it, before we jump into the next article. I almost forgot. Because when it comes to illegal immigrant criminals, like the men that we're speaking of right now, and like I said, we're going to get into more detail concerning who these guys are in a minute. If you let Brandon Johnson tell it, it's not his responsibility to keep the citizens of Chicago safe from monsters like this. It's not his responsibility. He doesn't care. If they're running around, so what? Don't believe me? I'll just play this clip for you right now, and I'll let Emperor Brandon Johnson speak for himself.
Tom Holman showed up in Chicago and within 24 hours found a convicted sex offender who has been living in our city since 2009, flouting the sex offender registry. If he can do this, why can't you?
Because that's their job. That is their job. The federal
Their
government
job's not to keep
has
the
a
people of Chicago
responsibility
safe.
to make sure that individuals who are undocumented, who have been charged with, convicted of a crime, it is the federal government's responsibility to do their part and uphold the law. Our local police department, along with our public health department, along with our other sister agencies, are working to build a better, stronger, safer Chicago. And as we've stated repeatedly, those critical investments, you continue to see the results of those investments as violent crime continues to fall in Chicago. Thank you very much.
It's not his job. It's not his job. That's why he had them in custody for trying to lure in a child, but he let them go because, hey, it's not my job. Right. So now what I want to do is that I want to get into a second article because, like I said, it gives us more detail into who these guys are and how monstrous they actually are. So here are the photos of these two right here. Two migrants charged with horrific murder of 63-year-old man who was bound with wire and duct tape. Wire and duct tape. Let's jump into this right now, right? So let's get into their names. And it's a little bit hard to pronounce. Funny, even Google couldn't help me pronounce this guy's first name, but we'll give it a go anyway. Jitterwin, whatever. Bayo Morales, 21 years old, and Jefferson Ubila Delgado, 29 years old. So that's the name of these two monsters, right? Levin's sister, the man who was taken away from us, Levin's sister found him bound with duct tape and electrical wire. That's a little extra piece of information that we didn't know. The electrical wire, which is wild. I'm assuming the duct tape, as they stated in the first report, was around, Levin's face and mouth. I would assume the electrical wire was around his, wrist and ankles, most likely. But check this out right here. Morales is from Venezuela. Ubila Delgado is from Ecuador. And Morales was wearing a federal immigration electronic monitoring bracelet, according to a source. They lived in the same apartment in the 1600 block of Northwest Highway. Wow. They're wearing federal electronic monitors, GPS monitors, that is. And they still did what they did. If that doesn't tell you that these guys came here to commit crime, I don't know what else does. I don't know what else does. These guys had absolutely no fear of suffering any type of consequences while being in this country, because they're in a city like Chicago where they know they will be protected by Brandon Johnson and JB Pritzker. But let's carry on. Morales was arrested around 3:10 p.m. on January 12th after two girls, get this, ages 13 and 12, reported that he tried to lure them into a car in the 6200 block of North Sayre, just around the corner from where the men lived. A law enforcement source said Ubila Delgado was in the vehicle with Morales at the time of the alleged luring, but he was arrested, but he was not arrested. CPD records show. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. These guys were riding around the neighborhood that they live in looking for young girls, 13 and 12 years old to be exact. One of them was arrested. The other one was just simply let go. But let's see how this played out, right? Let's carry on. Morales' arrest report in the luring incident states that a detective was working on felony charges in the case, but he was ultimately charged only with one count of misdemeanor assault after the detective consulted a prosecutor and supervisor for guidance. He was released from the Jefferson Park 16th District Police Station about 9 hours after being arrested. And the Fox News report that was from the day before, they said he was released the next day. He was not released the next day. These guys were riding around the city of Chicago in the neighborhood that they live in, looking for little ones, right? Underage little ones. They got caught and were released within 9 hours. Well, let me fact check myself. Remember, the other guy was released immediately, but then this man here, Morales, was released within 9 hours. And then after they were released, what did they do? They went to a gay dating app, booked a bogus date with a 63-year-old man just to tie him up with duct tape and electric wire, beat him to death, and steal his belongings. But none of this is Brandon Johnson's issue. None of this is his problem. None of this is his job. Brandon Johnson and J.B. Pritzker. I always have to remember to add J.B. Pritzker in the mix because these governors get off way too easy. Kathy Hochul in New York. We got to make sure that we're putting more emphasis on these governors as well. But go figure. It's not their problem. It's only Trump and Holman's problem, apparently. Even though they had these guys in custody, they had them and let them go. And here we are. And with all that being said, unfortunately, that does it for today's news. So please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. And also don't forget to follow me on Telegram and Rumble at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegram and Rumble is in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. And until next video, peace and have a great afternoon.